Hey friends, this is Bill McDonald, the writing doctor, and today will be detailed expository lesson plans, week 1, day 2. I call it writing with lots of pep. Many kids don't have their own experiences, so they don't know a lot of people, they don't get to go a lot of places, like I mentioned, they don't have experiences, and so they can't relate to cause and effect, things that happen that cause other things to happen. And for the secondary, they ask a lot about personality, about character traits, read about the importance of honesty, read about hard work, lots of things like that. So here's the idea. The lesson plans are described in detail on page 8, but I pretty much know my lesson plans. So I'm going to talk to you about what you can do with your students. This is whether you're a teacher or a parent that's trying to do activities. I suggest you teachers email or tag your parents that have Facebook, or copy the link that is on YouTube so that you can text the link to your parents and or email it to them. Okay, so one way you could do it is you could just grab a sheet of paper if you don't have the page 9 where the kids can be filling it out, and they can write on the after holding it 4 times, your kids will write writing with pep on the first section. The P of pep, people, places, and GPS. That's for instance where get pretty specific. Actually name the person, name the place. Don't just say my grandpa. What is your grandpa's name? Or don't just tell me the name of the character from the book or the movie that you're going to talk about. Okay? GPS, get pretty specific. Name the place. South Padre Island. The experience. So even though it says experiences, when you have them think about the person or the place, try to think of one experience that you can explain and explode. One effect, something unusual that happened there. You might call it the climax, the rising action that causes some sort of effect of the characters. The personality traits. Life is what happens when you're on your way to do something else, so it's important that kids pay attention to how characters respond to the situations that happen to them. So the way it would be fun to play is sort of around the world with your Google Classrooms, or with your, if you're doing FaceTime or Skype or anything like that. There's lots of creative ways to connect with your kids if it's done through email. Each child can think about one real person, place, experience, effect, or a personality of a certain character that from their own life, or they can resort to step 2 and say, think about every book that they have read and focus on one character from that book, one place that that book talked about, a specific location. What was the biggest event, the most important experience that was in that place? What was the most important effect, the biggest conflict that they had to resolve? What personality traits came out of the characters from that book? And the same thing can be done with movies. And the idea is, if everybody takes a turn doing this, let's say you have 25 kids in one class, well, then you'd have 25 ideas. Well, if you have 2 or 3 or 4 classrooms, then you could flip it over and you would write PEP again on the back side, and hopefully if everybody writes small enough and shares the ideas, you can take pictures after the whole class is done so the kids can see what everybody else has written. Because to be honest with you, and it mentions it in the lesson plans, that kids are a lot better at reading than they are at writing. Okay, so just reading the directions that I've kind of talked to you about. Use the boxes below to keep track of the people you meet or read about, experiences you have, places you visit or learn about during the year, to use for essay ideas. Okay? My daughter was telling me that I was not focusing in close enough for some of you to be able to see. For middle school and high school, use the bottom two boxes to list different effects of personality and character traits you view in others or yourself throughout the school year. Expository prompts will always be about a specific idea from one of these PEP topics. And as I've mentioned several times, all of the prompts for elementary have always been about one of the 5 W's. One person, who. One place, where. A when. So when they go to talk about the where and the when, they can talk about why the time of day or the time of the year or that season was important. The what is the experience? What was the effect? For middle school and high school, they're going to be asking your kids, write about the importance of something. Write about the importance of hard work. Write about the importance of getting along, of honesty, of working together. And so when you think about all the books and all the movies, because like I said, since kids are better at reading than writing and they have limited experiences, have them rely on all the books that they've read on their own, all the movies that they've watched, all of the effects and experiences, the plots from the movies, and then as you work through this, you'll be sort of like building a little bank of ideas so that when your kids do write for you, they'll be able to have a little bank of ideas page here, and on the back side if you end up having more than one classroom that you're working with. So that's what lesson 2 is all about. It'll be a fun way to kind of go around the world literally with your students, because they'll all be in their homes, and as parents you can help out by sharing some of your own people that you've met, some places that you've gone, some experiences that you've had, some effects, and it'll be a really great getting to know each other in the family, why life makes us tick and what ticks us off. Describe your own personality or the personality of the people in your family and the way that maybe has caused them to be that way. And all of a sudden, we will be able to make lots of writing connections, because as I mentioned in that last one, why are we the way we are? One of the W's is sometimes why. The 7th grade prompt last year was write about the best way to learn. So that's a what. Okay? So the what can be based on an experience that you have, based on a character trait that you have, based on a person that you've met, a place you've gone, something that creates a way that you've learned. And so as teachers, I think we should always go first, so I would recommend that each of you teachers go ahead and write one or two of these in here from a book, a movie, or from your own lives. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks, and God bless.